Hi, thank you for joining me today. This is Kathie with Craft with Kathie. Get comfy and let's get started.
I've had this transfer sitting around for a while and wasn't quite ready to use it, and was thinking of something the other day, and I said, you know what, it's time I really work on this. Some of you may know that my mom had a stroke, a hemorrhagic stroke, about 3 years ago, and she's doing pretty good, but initially things were tough. You know, she had a first battle the issue of actually surviving the stroke itself, and then recovering from the deficits from it. And basically, it was a dramatic impact on all of our lives, especially Mom's. And from the beginning, I told her, you know, we'll do this together. Don't worry, you can handle it. You know, we're all there supporting you, etc. And I think that did make a difference. But in reality, this is my mama. She's tough. She's sweet. She wears her heart on her sleeve all the time, still does. But she has this perseverance and resilience that really is to be envied. When she sets her mind to something, she does it. And that has really aided her in learning to walk again, and speech. Speech was the most difficult. And I remember there were some days that I'd just be in a total panic. I'm going to pull this transfer off the backer and put it on my fuzzing cloth to fuzz it before I use it. This is a brand new transfer. I'd be in a panic because I thought, what if she cannot regain her speech? Initially, she could only say her name, and of course she would never do it when the doctors would come to see her. They'd come marching in with maybe 15, 20 people standing around her bed, and she'd be like a deer in the headlights. But then when she was more relaxed, I could get her to say her name, or my dad's name, or my brother, or whatever. Couldn't get her to say my name. But one day I was sitting there eating a chocolate croissant, and she looked at me and she said chocolate, and I was like, oh my goodness. I felt so bad that I couldn't share it with her, because at the time she hadn't passed her swallow test, and there was nothing by mouth that she could have to eat. But she's worked hard, and this is really her. Life can be very tough, and you sometimes are faced with very unexpected challenges, and you have to have that toughness to survive and basically move forward. You know, we all fall down. The big challenge is picking ourselves up, or deciding to pick ourselves up and go forward. So I think this is a perfect transfer to do for my mama. I'm going to do it on the Aiden board. This is a distressed board, magnetic chalkboard, porcelain magnetic, with a 50-year warranty. Can you imagine? So I'm going to center this transfer, and there's a lot of open area in the screening. Our transfers are made of vinyl, which is the teal, and the clear, which is a silk screen. And I want to make sure that I have this nice and taut, that I don't have any air bubbles or anything on the silk screen. When I start applying the paste. And I can't tell if it's just part of the design. I'll put a little piece of fuzz for my fuzzing cloth. Let me get that off, but I want to make sure this is nice and smooth, that I don't feel or see any air bubbles. I might have to lift this up and adjust a little bit here and there, just because it has so much open area. And what I want to do on this transfer is use the Ombre technique, which I'm going to use 3 different color pastes. Oops, another little piece of fuzz here for my fuzzing cloth. And the Ombre allows me to apply these 3 different color pastes and blend them together. Let's see if that looks flat enough. It looks like I have a little air bubble here. When handling your transfers, you always want to lift them from left or right, top or bottom. You never want to pull them on the diagonal, as that could stretch or distort the transfer, kind of like what you would do with a fabric on the bias. I do think it looks like I have some air bubbles in here. So let me lift and lay this flat again. I did lift on the edge, but I'm not pulling up yet, and that's fine just to gain purchase. Okay, it looked like I hit an air bubble right there. I usually use my fingers. I could actually use a squeegee also. I'm just trying to get a good look in the light here. And it does look like I have a couple down on the bottom. Air bubbles are usually not an issue, but on something with this much open area, it pays to make sure that you've eliminated them as much as possible. Oops. I could see them as the light's hitting it. I don't know if you could see it on camera. And that looks much, much better. Okay. So to do this, I'm going to use my Peachy Keen paste that I've already stirred. My shimmer copper, and my couture teal. My couture teal is a little lumpy. It was really dried. I had to add some distilled water to it to loosen it up, and I'm going to try and avoid those little clumps. I really should probably let it sit longer.
I misspoke. I meant couture coral.
So I think I'm going to start with Peachy Keen. I need a little bit more than I've got here. I'm going to lay it down right across the edge. And I've got it a little thick, which is fine for what I'm doing. I don't know if I should go copper or the coral. I think I'm going to go with the coral next. It just seems like the Peachy Keen is kind of close to the copper. We'll see. If I don't like it, I could just erase it and do it again. And I'm going to put a little bit of space here before I lay down my coral chalk paste. Oh, I need a little bit more here. Grab some more. Okay, so a little bit of space between, got some lumpies, between the two lines of paste. And I'm going to have to work a little quick with this because it looks a little dry. And then my copper. Get it off the squeegee here. Not my straightest line, but whatever. Then I think I'm going to come back with Peachy Keen. And just end it with the Peachy Keen. I was going to see if I can get another thing of the club of the couture coral, but I don't think I could. Oops, I got some couture coral from my finger. Oops, on there. Not what I intended, but we'll see how it looks. Okay, I'm scraping a little bit of excess here off. And I might add a little bit more copper, make this a little bit wider. Then I'm going to actually take my finger and rub these together. Ooh, it is getting a little dry. Let me spray my finger with some water. And I want to rub these together, blending the colors. Clean my fingers, and I want to do the same thing with the copper, and then with the copper and the peachy keen.
This is why I love these products so much. There's so much flexibility, and if you make a mistake or an oops, it's so easy to correct and reuse surfaces.
Just a gentle swirling motion. I feel like a kid doing finger painting, which is kind of what we're doing here, isn't it? Oops, I got a little bit more copper there than I wanted. Okay, now I'm going to take a clean squeegee and come back and remove all the excess. I cannot add this back into my jars because my colors have blended. I'm going to wipe off the excess onto a paper towel. Oh, a little bit of a soupy mess. Let's do this, get rid of my lines. My paper towel is getting a little soggy here, and I have gone off of the board a touch at the bottom. Oh, it looks like I have an air bubble right there. Might need to do a little patchwork. A little bit of a messy technique. What can I say? And let me grab another squeegee to get into the very edge here and clean this up. Then I'm going to do the peel and reveal. See if I can get the excess chalk paste off my fingers as best as I can. And on this one I'm going to lift from the bottom as soon as I can gain purchase here. I need a little bit more paste right here. My peachy keen. Oops. Squeegee fell right into the jar. Get rid of that line. Okay. Clean my fingers and see what I'm looking at. I might have hit an air bubble there and I might need to clean it up a little bit. This is a distressed looking transfer, so in general flaws shouldn't be too noticeable, and that is really kind of strange up at the top. I think I actually let this dry too much, which I'm going to try applying a little bit more and see if I can loosen it up, or I might have to actually redo it. You want to work generally fairly quickly with your paste. You don't want it to dry in the silk screen like I just did. because I took a little bit too long with that. Now I'm going to come back over with a damp finger and see if I could loosen that up a little bit and make it right. Or I'm going to just have to wash it off and redo the top. We'll see. Sometimes it's a learning process. And interestingly enough, you'd be amazed by how you can learn different techniques and solutions to some of your problems through your mistakes. Okay, it helped a little bit, but it's really not perfect. Let me put this transfer aside. And clean my fingers a bit and give you a better look at what this looks like. I like the colors. The coral was a little bit deeper than I expected it to be on here, but I think it looks good, and I like the idea that my colors really don't change within the individual lines of words. I mean, a little bit with the coral and the copper, but I like the copper and the but so are you and the peachy keen for the bottom. I will go back over this with a wet paper towel and remove this, any of my things where I spilled off the edge. This hasn't dried yet, so that's easy enough to remove. And I have a feeling I might do a second go at this or whatever, because I don't like the way the top looked when the chalk pulled up. But basically this is a little demo of doing the ombre technique. It's fun, it's easy, and being that it's reusable and washable, spray it, wipe it, and redo. It's probably what I'm going to do here. Thank you so much for joining me in the wee hours of the morning. Have a wonderful life and a great 2020. If you're not currently in my VIP group, please feel free to comment VIP below, and I will add you to my group where there's additional videos, tips, tricks, bundles, etc. Hope to see you there.